When he first developed seizures, it was after an accident. And I think that's something that probably almost all of us can relate to, having something really bad happen totally out of the blue from an accident. And suddenly your life changes completely. You know, what you expected was going to happen doesn't happen, and all of a sudden you're limited. You can't drive yourself to the grocery store, you can't drive yourself to work, you may not even be able to work. I think a lot of times we take our freedoms for granted, and people like Corey that you can relate closely to remind us of how important those freedoms are and how delicate that balance can be. When Corey first came to see me, he had been on multiple medications. I think he'd been seen by a couple of other neurologists, and it was really frustrating that his seizures hadn't been under control and that his activity was really restricted. And sometimes the medication isn't enough, and so we have to go beyond that to figure out what's best for each patient. In terms of the medical approach itself, it's a fairly standard approach of figuring out where the seizures are coming from, applying a standard approach to each individual. What our goal was to try to get him as much independence as possible and to try to take the course of treatment that would get him seizure-free if at all possible. It sounds really, really scary at first, and that's something that we have a lot of long conversations about. We talk about what to expect, and they were absolutely wonderful to work with. They asked great questions. They were very active in seeking out more information for themselves, which we encourage. Their whole families have been really involved in the whole process. And I think the wonderful thing about our team is that we really do care about each and every patient, and we know them pretty darn well, and that's what we're about. I think the great thing about working with Corey is the connection that we had with him and his family. I think people don't realize how close we get to our patients, especially the ones that we're going through a pre-surgical workup with, because this takes months. And that's one of the fun things about what we do, and we're thrilled with the outcome.